Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي امري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي زدني علما رب ارزقني علما اللهم ارني الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وارني الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه وتوكل الله وكفى بالله وكيلا. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم. So I don't know when we agreed, all of us as people, I don't know when we agreed to believe in a mutual delusion. And because this mutual delusion is so strong, that I really feel that we put a lot of effort in wanting to believe in it, because it's just a powerful one. And the delusion is that somehow we came into this world to chill out. That somehow we came into this world to have fun and to go easy on things and to like cruise along and to just, YOLO kind of moment. I don't know when we was so afraid to actually see at which point in our humanity we were so afraid collectively to really look at the reality of the world that we decided instead to sit down in a circle. And that's what it feels like, to sit down in a circle, to hold our hands. It's like, okay, this is what we're going to believe in instead. That we're going to believe that it's a joyful place, that it's an amazing place, and that we came here to have fun. We came here to just flow and be at peace with things and be at peace with ourselves and just like be and just, eat ice cream and like what. So we sat down in a circle at some point and decided that that's how we wanted the world to be. But because this is not what the world is meant to be, the friction between what we want to feel in this world and what we actually experience is so great that it feels like we are in a torture rack where your limbs are being stretched literally in opposite directions. Because what this collective delusion sustained over centuries and centuries and centuries is telling us is that we are meant to chill out and have fun and cruise along in this life. And the haq of this world, the reality of the world, is that this world is a place of testing. This is a place of non-rest. This is a place of trials. And I know these are words which scare us, but either we can really lean into our fears now, because guys, it's time. And this is by guys, I mean, I'm speaking to myself, Madiha, it's time. Either we really lean into this fear now, that these solid walls that we are so proud of and these concrete structures that we are enamored with and these solid things that we can hold and these silks that we can wear are not it. And no matter how stable this earth that we're walking on feels like, it's a planet rotating in an orbit held by a gravitational force in crazy space. There is nothing stable about this planet except for except for the anchors it has been given, and all those anchors have been activated by one command, which is the creator of all universes, which has said, stay in your orbit and make them feel anchored, but make them feel anchored so that this place which is already a space of trials does not become even more unnecessarily hard for them. So at what point have we decided to mistake the fact that we are not rotating with the earth with stability? At what point did we decide to do that? At what point did we decide to put a veil, as if there weren't enough veils anyway? इतने पर्दे वैसे ही हमारे से रखे गए हैं और हमारे अंदर अपने लिए भी हैं, बट हमने उसके ऊपर एक और पर्दा डाला कि हम तो जैसे इस दुनिया में हमेशा के लिए आए हुए हैं और इस दुनिया में हमेशा के आए हो के अब हमें like there is no exit back into our original world. So this is all there is. And if this is all there is, then I really need to draw the maximum joy and the maximum benefit from this world, which means that I've got to steal, snatch, kill, I've got to destroy, I've got to raise my way through resources, I've got to hoard, whatever it takes, I've got to either hold on too tight or just make a complete mess, be a garbage truck walking, an open, uncovered garbage truck walking through the world. At what point did we not understand, did we decide to hide from the fact that there is nothing stable about this world, that we are not here as its inhabitants, as its residents, that this illusion that we call stability does not exist, and there is no such thing as happiness. Ouch, hurts, huh? But there is one such thing as sakoon. So whatever stability being consists, like the sense of security, safety, happiness, ease, joy, all of this on one side that we'd really like to receive from this world solely and singularly. All of these things on one side, on the other side is sakoon, peace, which is Islam, which is salamati. And the most powerful thing about peace is that it does not pretend that there is no war when there is a war. At no point, because the presence of peace actually does not mean the absence of war. The presence of peace means this brutal, brutal honesty about who you are, why you're here, and where you are, and what the purpose is. Brutal. If we are not, till we continue to hide from ourselves as to who we are, why we are here, what this world is, and what our purpose. Till the time we continue to hide all of these things from ourselves, we will not be able to experience sakoon. We will not be able to experience peace. And yes, because we've been conditioned, we feel that what we actually want to experience is joy. What we actually want to experience is stability. What we actually want to experience is happiness. What we actually want to experience is things which do not change. These are conditioned, fear-based desires that we've been taught to believe, so that we actually forget कि ये पॉसिबल नहीं है, क्योंकि जिस डायमेंशन में आपको, इस दुनिया जिसमें हम आए हैं, जहां से आपको ये चीजें चाहिए, ये दुनिया की फ्रीक्वेंसी इन चीजों के लिए नहीं बनी है. Like you can throw a fit, and we can all throw a collective fit, which is what we're all throwing. What this world looks like, guys, I really like it's, I don't know where all of this is coming from. I know that this world is throwing a collective fit about, my God, we were promised to be taken. My parents promised me that they're going to take me to a candy shop. And where is my candy? And it's a collective fit that this whole universe, this whole world is throwing right now. Because we were all promised across different generations, stability, security, happiness. Things will not change. Things will stay the same. You will be taken care of. You will not have to experience extreme discomfort. Big things will not happen. Storms will not come. I've got you. We're going to take care of you. No, this is not that place. So the fit that we are now throwing as a world, and the fits that we're now throwing internally in our personal lives, and those internal fits might not be structured fits. It might not be screaming, shouting, and having aggressive outbursts, or they may be those, but also silent fits, extreme dis-ease, extreme anxiety, extreme unanchoredness, extreme कि हमारा अंदर से कोई peg हिला हुआ है, और we don't know how to bring it back into alignment. Springs टूटे हुए हैं, निकले हुए हैं, we don't know how to bring back, we don't know where to even start from, because once you tune into the internal space of ourselves, it feels like it's such a big mess. So this fit that we're in, this moment of a collective fit that we're in, where nothing makes sense, because this is not how it was supposed to be. But guys, this is exactly how it was supposed to be. In fact, it did not have to be so hard if we had not believed that this was how it was supposed to be. जब हमें किसी चीज की reality पता हो, for example, you go to a doctor, and I recently had this experience. You go for an ear piercing or a nose piercing, right? Now this doctor is telling you इसको तो बिल्कुल दर्द नहीं होगी, बिल्कुल फिक्र नहीं ना करें, ease breezy, no problem. And then they jab you with a needle and it hits and it hurts like, oh my God, like your limbs are being torn apart, although it's just a needle, but it's a nose and it's really sensitive. So then my friend had gone with me. And so what I did with my friend was, you know what, do not listen to him. First of all, I said, do not trust him because it will hurt. It will hurt. So prepare yourself for the fact that it will hurt. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold your hand really tightly, and you're going to lean your head against me, against my shoulder. You're going to prep yourself for the fact that it's going to hurt. Is it going to hurt a lot? Is it going to hurt? Doesn't matter. Prep yourself in the best way that you can. And it did not hurt her. We did this, and it did not hurt her as much as it had hurt me. Simple, small example. Why? Because there was no delusion. कि नहीं नहीं दर्द ही नहीं होगी, नहीं नहीं ये तो दुनिया तो बहुत चिल आउट स्पेस है, आप क्यों चिल्ड आउट नहीं है, यू फील द टेंशन. Like there is एक तो ये कि the energy that's going in holding up this collective lie that this dunya is your, what's it called, your safe space, or this dunya is your, I don't know, those whatever, your hang. Like the collective energy that's going in keeping this delusion alit and sustaining it is one. And the second part of it is it's like you're being asked to see a movie, except that you're also featuring in that movie, and that movie is telling you this is how it should be because it is telling you this is what it should be like, but you're not feeling that way. If you're feeling miserable in a beautiful looking forest, you're going to feel even more, or like in a very beautiful place, right? In a very, where you're supposed to feel better, but you don't. The misery is compounded, right? But if already the place is dark, already you're prepared for the fact that it's not going to be the beautiful forest that you were believing and thinking about, and you step into it, somehow you will still find a thing of beauty in it. And we've all been there. We know when we go and for it, and I want us to, okay, take a moment, and this is for myself also, take a moment. There is something to be said about seeing things as they are. Hope right now has not entered the picture. Hope right now has not entered the picture. So in this moment, what I'm asking us all to do is take a moment and to not take the responsibility of not feeling good and happy and well adjusted. Not take that responsibility in this moment, because what you're being asked to do is wrong. Because the place that you asked to do it in is not your home, is not a place of happiness. It is a place of trials. It's a place of tribulation. Al-dunya is an Arabic word which is used very frequently to describe this temporal world, right? Which hosts our lives here on earth. It's a you know, sometimes when you just read about dunya, you begin to tune into the frequency of it. Even the dunya, subhanallah, which is of course an alive frequency, because it is in hamd at all times of the creator, it is alive. This frequency is hosting us, is not welcoming us into its arms as like permanent residents, hosting us. So this al-dunya in an Arabic world, dunya stems from the root word DWN, or the na ya, which means lower. So, and also means nearer. So the word has been mentioned in Quran as al-hayatul dunya because it is nearer to us than the akhirah. we are, you see, subhanallah. Now, just we're going to stay here in like a moment, right? It's this dunya as a separate frequency from us. We are not of this dunya. We are not from this dunya. The way dunya is being referred to is a frequency which is closer to us than akhra. So akhra is a frequency, dunya is a frequency. This frequency is closest to us, it is nearer to us, but also it's lower than that frequency. That means that automatically, and you know what happens when you when you tune into this lower frequency, already there's a heaviness to it. The weightlessness comes when you fly. The weightlessness comes when you're in a higher frequency. Dunya, by the definition of the frequency that we're in, because we're not angels right now, okay? Multidimensional or not, we are multidimensional, but we are inhabiting these in this moment. Our presence is in dunya. जिस तरह mountains peg हुए हुए हैं इस दुनिया में, हमारी multidimensional nature इस दुनिया की जमीन के अंदर peg हुई हुई है. So the multidimensional cells have, in this moment, in this dunya, have weights. Those weights are meant to weigh, are meant to pull them down, to test them. कि जितनी दफा हमें नीचे पुल करेंगे ये weights, हम कितनी दफा ऊपर खड़े होंगे, कितनी दफा when these weights pull us down, how many people are we going to look to for help, or are we going to ask our creator for help, or every time these weights pull us down, how many people are we going to snatch and steal and kick and claw at to be able to get back up? Or are we going to surrender to this moment and allow ourselves to get back up when we are ready? So the weights are already a part of our multidimensional journey in this dunya. But the nature of this dunya is a transition to afterlife. The nature of this dunya is trials. The nature of the dunya is not rest. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to tune back into what happens, because if the nature of this dunya is not rest, we are told that it should be rest. The nature of this dunya is not happiness. We are told we should be happy. If the nature of this dunya is the fact that everybody else is at peace and are nicely fitted in, you're the only one who's the odd one out. These I do not belong here, or I'm doing something wrong here, or something is wrong with me, I am broken. These stories further enlarge the holes that we already have on our soul. And in this moment, I want us to tune in कि अगर हमारी soul, tune into your soul and visualize your soul, tune into your soul as a fabric. The fabric could be of your choice, whether you like silks or linens or cottons or malmal, जो भी है. Tune in to the fabric of your soul in this moment. And in the first instance that you tune in, you'd see a very pristine, like a pristine fall of the fabric or a pristine look of the fabric. But I want us to bring our awareness to the fact that this fabric is actually hiding. This is the illusory fabric, and it's hiding the actual fabric of our soul. So we're going to allow ourselves to take 2 steps towards that fabric. And if it's hanging from a clothesline or just gently just floating in the air, we're going to extend our right hand and we're going to pull down this fabric from the clothesline that is hanging on for whatever window that it's hiding. And it will reveal the fabric, the real fabric beneath that fabric. And the fabric that is revealed beneath that fabric is not a pristine fabric. It's a tattered one. और अगर उसमें ज्यादा होल्स नजर नहीं आ रहे तो उसमें पेवन जरूर नजर आ रहे होंगे और पैचवर्क्स नजर आ रहे हैं, but barely held together है, weathered है. It's seen it's traveled a few distances. This fabric of our soul, the one if we allow ourselves to see, is the actual experience of the multidimensional soul through the world, through the human world, through the lower world, through the nearer world. This is what living is this dunya, how living in this dunya impacts the soul of me. This is the effect that this dunya has on my soul. And of course, we're going to move one step forward. In this moment, let us, for a moment, allow ourselves to feel into कि ये मेरे साथ हुआ है. मैं चूंकि इस दुनिया में हूँ, by the nature of me being in this world, I have this tattered fabric of my soul that I'm carrying within me. And the fabric that I saw trying to hide it was a fabric that I either remember or how I would like to be, but it is not haq. Because to be in this dunya, to be in this dunya is to have holes in our soul. That is the nature of what this dunya is. Why? Because the dunya, and it's been spoken about in Quran again and again and again, ये दुनिया आपके लिए test है. And we will test you through hunger. We will test you through fear. We will test you through loss. We will test you through your wealth. We will test you through lack. We will test you through your children. We will test you through your health. We will test you, for this is the place that this dunya is. And each of these tests, a test of loss, the test of loss, which is a continuous test throughout our lives, we have experienced in many different ways, is the whole, is in one of the, वो एक सुराख है आपकी उस हमारी उस सोल की चादर पे. और उस तरह के लॉस के अगर आपने उनको कलर देने उन सुराखों को, बिकॉज यू वांट टू आइडेंटिफाई, बहुत ज़्यादा आपको सुराख मिलेंगे, बिकॉज वो कंटिन्यूस लॉस के सुराख हैं. वी गोना बी टेस्टेड थ्रू फियर. फियर के सुराख हैं जो कुछ जले हुए हैं, किसी में शायद मोमबत्ती की पिघली हुई मोमबत्ती के रिम्स भी डले हुए हैं, बिकॉज फियर का एक पूरा नेचर ऑफ सुराख है उस सोल के फैब्रिक के ऊपर. वी गोना टेस्ट यू थ्रू योर हेल्थ. वी गोना टेस्ट यू थ्रू योर चिल्ड्रन, either our desire to have children or our desire for our children who we have. Either way, there is this what is the English word for it? एक है हमारे अंदर, और वो एक होल है. ये नहीं हो सकता कि कोई, when we are feeling pain of any nature, and this is the haq principle of the universe. ये नहीं हो सकता कि when we are feeling pain of any nature, big or small, of any nature, it doesn't leave a hole in our soul. ये हो नहीं सकता, क्योंकि ये जो souls है ना हमारी, जो multidimensional souls हैं, ये what is that material? Filigree, spiderweb filigree. Spiderweb filigree की बनी हुई है ये. Delicate, not frail, but delicate. Madham and naram and झूमी हुई filigree. मस्त एक मतलब एक प्यार में मस्त फिलिग्री का एक जाल है हमारा सोल. बहुत डेलिकेट है, बहुत फ्रैजाइल है, बहुत नाजुक है. उसके ऊपर कोई भी जो पेन लगती है उस फैब्रिक के ऊपर, वो उसको चीरती, उसको व्हाट इज इट टेयर्स इट जिस तरह सिल्क, एक बहुत ही सेंसिटिव जो सिल्क होता है, या जो कोई क्रोशे की जो लेस होती है, सिल्क की लेस होती है, हल्की सी टेयर से पूरी वो छिज जाती है. ये वो उस तरह टेयर करती है. Every pain, that's the nature of our soul, and every pain tearing it is the nature of dunya, and it's meant to do it. It's meant to, so that, because Allah Ta'ala so that, क्यों ये tears हैं? एक तो ये कि ये हो नहीं सकता, क्योंकि क्यों अल्लाह ताला ने कहा हुआ है कि आपको सुई का दर्द भी हो तो I will balance it out for you, I will give you उसका अजर. क्यों कहा हुआ है? Because वो आपके, the creator of the soul, and he understands the delicacy with which it's been created, and the fragility and the beauty and the sensitivity with which with which it's been created. वो जो नाजुकपन है ना, एक है वो नाजुकपन, सुभान अल्लाह, इन द फेमिनिन एंड द मैस्कुलिन एम्बॉडीमेंट्स, चाहे वो मर्द हैं वो औरतें हैं, वो एक्सट्रीम सेंसिटिविटी है टू एनीथिंग ऑफ दुनिया, ये है। सो वो टीयर तो होना है, एंड अल्लाह ताला से जो वो टीयर होता है उसको वापस सीने वाले कितने हैं? मैं उन दर्जियों को, मैं उन लोगों को, उन दर्जनों को, उन दर्जियों को, उन कढ़ाई वालों को ढूंढ रहा हूँ, सुभान अल्लाह। सो द फर्स्ट पार्ट इज कि सुराख तो होना है, एंड सो जो छलनीपन जिसको हम लोग लेके फिर रहे हैं, इसमें सुराख तो है, हम लोग उसको डिनाई करें, हम लोग उसके ऊपर 50 लाख के जोड़े पहन लें, हम लोग जितने मर्जी स्पास और हमाम्स में चले जाएं, छलनी तो है। दैट्स द नेचर ऑफ दिस वर्ल्ड, इट्स नॉट अ ड्रामेटिक स्टेटमेंट, इट्स अ फैक्ट। The same way as saying, oh, the world is a strangely strange place because there is so much cruelty and there's so much kindness in the same breath, is not an overly dramatic statement, it's a fact. So similarly, छलनी तो होना है। अब in what happens when we fully take responsibility, and that's where our role comes in. Either we go on pretending from this point onwards, or some of us, the reason why we're here, some of us just stop pretending. This collective delusional pretense that we are okay because the world is okay. We just stop pretending that. We had perhaps been in small silos in our small homes. We were told things that this is how, but then we stepped out, we experienced the world. The world is not okay, and we are not okay. But here's the good news: the world is not meant to be okay, and we're not meant to be okay. But we are meant to be at peace. And the world is meant to be a source of some peace for you, so that we may be able to taste it and use it as a reminder of when we go to the higher frequency, which the whole dimension is of a higher frequency, physically a higher vibrant, because ये physically lower dimensional space है, एक और इसी तरह physically higher dimensional space है. So to channel our higher dimensional energies in a lower dimensional space, that is the trial. That is the difficulty. That is the tearing. Those are the holes. क्योंकि अब वो छलनी हुए हैं, अब बैठ के कौन से सुई धागे हम लोग लें, कौन सी कढ़ाइयां करें, और वो कढ़ाइयां क्या हम लोग जैगेड किस्म के पैचेस लगाएंगे, या हम लोग उन्हीं टीयर्स के ऊपर गुलाब के फूल परोएंगे. The quality of not just stitching the holes, but the quality of the thread and the needle and the one who is stitching their own holes, and the irada and the intent and the song that they have in their hearts while they're stitching their own holes. So holes to hain. Ab chunke wo holes hain, or for people who are not aware of our own holes, उसमें से गंद बाहर निकलता रहता है. Like ऐसे जैसे अंदर जख्म जख्म पस पस ऊज हो रही है हर वक्त, हम वो वो हमारे बच्चों के ऊपर ऊज हो रही है, वो हमारे घरों में ऊज हो रही है, हमारे मालियों के ऊपर ऊज होती है, फिर हमारी जो हमारे साथ बच्चियां काम कर रही हैं उनके ऊपर ऊज होती है, फिर जब किसी के ऊपर बस नहीं चलता तो बर्तनों के ऊपर ऊज होती है, जब किसी के ऊपर बस नहीं चलता तो हम लोग उसको इंटरनली अपने ऊपर ऊज करना. ओ माय, लाइक द वर्स्ट काइंड. एक होता है कि एक वो पोल्यूशन होती है कि चलो होल्स है, कम से कम अंदर से कोई चीज बाहर निकले, फिर भी हेल्थी है, अंदर तो नहीं रह रहा. पर फिर एक पॉइंट आता है, हम लोग डिसाइड करते हैं कि अंदर से बाहर रखने का भी कोई फायदा नहीं है, हम लोग एक और नाला खोदते हैं कि जो बाहर से, जो हम लोग अंदर से बाहर स्पिल हो रहा है, वहां से जो नाला है वो वापस भी अंदर ही आए, तो मतलब वहीं से पास निकल के बाहर जा रही है और वहीं से एक यूटर्न लेके वापस अंदर आ रही है, और फिर अंदर हमें क्रॉनिक डिसीजेज हो रही हैं, हमें आर्थराइटिस हो रहे हैं, हमें डायबिटीज हो रही हैं, डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ डायबिटीज हो रहे हैं, हमें कैंसर हो रहे हैं, डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ कैंसर हो रहे हैं, क्योंकि हमने एक अपना एक गंदा नाला सेट किया हुआ है. After a few experiences in this world, there's no point in even sharing it with it. There's no, हम लोग, मैं ऊज बाहर भी करूंगी उसका कोई फायदा नहीं है, बाहर भी ऊज हो बट वापस जरूर अंदर आए, because I really want to own this oozness in some way. So we are energetically polluting when we are not aware of the fact that we are walking around with holes, and we are pretending that in front of that chalni wala soul there is a nicer one. There is no nicer one. That nicer one is why that chalni wala soul has so much power. That nicer one is why that छलनी वाला सोल के अंदर से चीजें बस निकलती जा रही हैं, and we have no way, क्योंकि हर सुराख का, हर फैब्रिक का सुई और धागा अलग होता है. हमें मालूम ही नहीं है कि उनको स्टिच कैसे करने हैं, क्योंकि वी आर इन डिनायल ऑफ द फैक्ट. और वो डिनायल इसलिए क्योंकि ये तो होना नहीं चाहिए, बट ये किसने कहा होना नहीं चाहिए? ये ऐसा ही होना चाहिए, ये ऐसा है. Like if dunya were okay, I don't know why I'm really invested in this tailor analogy, but dunya is a pair of scissors, guys. You, when the moment you come into contact, and you are a piece of silk, and like very pointed sharp shears, I don't even call it scissors, shears. Dunya is shears and you are really delicate silk. The moment you come into contact with dunya, you will tear. It's just, अगर नीचे गिरते हैं तो उसको चोट लगती है ना. ओह, फील इनटू दिस. नीचे गिरते हैं तो उनको चोट लगती है. तो हम लोग नीचे है ना इस वक्त, तो चोट तो लगनी है. और द डिफरेंस इज कि वो नीचे उठ के जब उठ जाते हैं इन द रेगुलर फिजिकल वर्ल्ड, जब वो उठ जाते हैं, तो if there is somebody taking care of that chot, and if they have learned enough from what not to do, then the next time it's not like they're not going to fall, but next time it's going to hurt a little less, और जख्म थोड़ा कम होगा. नेक्स्ट फिर ओवर प्रैक्टिस के बाद उस तरह का गिरना खत्म हो जाएगा और उस तरह की चोटें लगना खत्म हो जाएंगी. Similarly, you become, when we are in denial of the fact that we are not chalni, then we are energetic pollutants. And we can stand up for all the rights in the world, but essentially what we're doing is we're denying ourselves our own rights. When we are denying the fact that we are torn up souls, we're denying ourselves our own right, because the first right of a torn up soul, the first right is कि आप दूसरे दुनिया के गन. And interestingly, people who have the most torn up souls will be the most empathetic, will be able to see the most amount of cruelty, and will be able to help the most as well. Other people, they'll be able to show up. They'll be like running like big organized, like really doing good humanitarian, beautiful humanitarian work. But mostly, they are not taking the responsibility of their own torn souls. And the reason why they're being able to take that giant leap of doing a lot of humanitarian work, a lot of it, is because they know something is amiss. They know something needs to be fixed. And they're going to be doing a lot to be able to do it, except for the one thing that actually needs them the most, the one thing that actually needs me the most, which is me. But if we had a collective of radically responsible multidimensional souls whose first responsibility was to take care of the holes in their own souls and to identify those specific threads and needles, to sit down and in mindfulness, and then sometimes while putting on music, and then sometimes with their favorite cup of chai, and sometimes with favorite opera, they're going to do the stitching, whatever it takes, of their own soul. If we had that collective, though, there is great power then that cannot be contained into one center or by one person. That means each person, if they are radically responsible for their own selves, are radically powerful individuals. They're not a victim. They're not bound to other outside conditions. And that is the most dangerous place for people who do not want multidimensional beings to come into their full power. And those people are energies, those people, because there is an equal dance of light and darkness, an equal dance. So the radical response, the radical revolution in this time and age is to take radical responsibility for your own self, for your own self. Because once we begin to do that, once we begin to get aware, first of all, of the fact that we have these holes and that we have stuff oozing out, we hurt with our words. We hurt when we are not speaking the words, we hurt with our eyes. When we're not speaking with our eyes, we hurt with our silence. When we're not speaking with our silence, then we hurt ourselves. We retreat and we become distant, and we are hurting and we're hurting ourselves, and we're hurting people that we love, because we are not familiar with our holes. And there is great wisdom in the ability to be able to identify the great wisdom. There's great power in the ability to be able to identify the right thread for the right hole, and the right color, sorry, the right needle with the right color of thread for the right hole that you are responsible for now stitching and fixing within your own self. Can you visualize this सुई धागे का डब्बा जिसमें different color threads पड़े हुए हैं, different color के needles पड़े हुए हैं, and you're sitting in a circle, say that it's a sewing circle, a sewing circle of friends, and you open your dabba and the three other people who say, hey, why don't you use that? Or oh, this color looks so nice. And then visualize yourself saying, I know the hole that I need to stitch because I'm familiar with it and I know exactly the thread. I know exactly the needle. I know exactly what I need to pick up to be able to stitch that hole. Do you feel how then there is no external power that you're giving your power away to heal you or to fix you or to do things for you, because you have taken radical responsibility for your own soul? And this not being aware of the fact that we, by virtue of us being insan, wal asra innal insan lafi khusr, इंसान खसारे में है, होल्स पड़ेंगे, दुनिया शेयर्स हैं, हमारे स्किन हमारी सेल्फ को टीयर करती हैं. It's the nature of this world. We can't deny it. And when we try to deny it, look at the price that we're paying. We have to stay up the whole night. We have to drink. We have to smoke. We have to shout at the top of our lungs. We have to keep loud music on. We have to keep Netflix on, like continuously, to be able to distract ourselves from the fact that no, this dunya is a cool world. No. This dunya is amazing. I'm amazing. Everything's okay. This today is not okay. Everything else is okay. No, it's not. No, it's not. The happy place that you're looking for is not this dunya. But, and here's the good news, when you begin to get familiar with your own holes, और आपने responsibility ले ली कि मुझे जिस तरह मेरी responsibility है सुबह नहाना from an hygienic perspective, जिस तरह मेरी responsibility है अपने घर को साफ रखना, अपने आप को साफ रखना, उसी तरह मेरी responsibility है to see कि आज मेरे कौन सा hole, जिस तरह socks में होते हैं हम उसको darn करते हैं, तो कौन सा hole needs my urgent attention today. So to sit down with the sui dhaga of you every night and to bring your attention to कि वो कौन सा होल है जिसको आज मेरी जरूरत है, और उसकी भी बैठ के हम लोग रफू करें उसकी. We have to do it, because otherwise we're not just. Here's another thing: when things spill out of us, when these poisonous things spill out of us and we act as energetic pollutants, because we are not all dark or all night, because we are a beautiful balance of both. जब ये चीजें हमसे बाहर निकल के गिरती हैं होल्स के थ्रू, क्योंकि वो होल्स खुले हुए हैं, तो उसमें हमारी एसेंशियल लाइफ फोर्स भी बाहर निकलती है. ये नहीं है कि उसमें सिर्फ गंदी चीजें हमेशा हमसे अंदर से निकलती रहती हैं, हमारी खूबसूरत चीजें भी हमसे निकलती रहती हैं. हमारे पास नहीं रह पाती वो चीजें भी. इवन व्हेन वी begin to feel good, we can't hold on to that feeling. Are you familiar with that? Because वो holes, जब by nature of them being holes, उसमें जब चीजें गिरनी है तो सब चीजें गिरनी है. वो it's not, there's no filter attached कि ये गिरेगा, कोई छाननी नहीं लगी हुई है ना कि ये गिरेगा ये नहीं गिरेगा. सब कुछ निकलता है फिर बाहर, और वो जो सब कुछ निकलता है बाहर, तो we end up losing that. What does that equate to? It equates to we don't have the strength. We don't feel like we have the physical strength or the emotional strength. We feel lethargic. We feel tired. We don't want to move from a place. We're losing our essential life force by virtue of these open holes. And then, not on that. This is not a one-way hole. It's a two-way hole. तो उन खुले सराखों में ना सिर्फ हमारी अच्छी और बुरी सारी चीजें बाहर निकल रही हैं, बल्कि बाहर की भी सारी चीजें अंदर आ रही हैं विदाउट एनी फिल्टर. और वो जो बाहर सारी चीजें अंदर आ रही हैं, उसका क्या मतलब होता है? इन द सिंपलेस्ट वे, इन द मोस्ट नॉन कॉम्प्लिकेटेड वे, I wanted to do that, but then I talked to them and they said I should do it. And then I talked to another person, they should know I do something else. And then I talked to a third person, they should do something else, and a fourth person. And by the time that you're done with talking to all of these people, क्योंकि इतना ज़्यादा input आ चुका है आपको उस particular wound से, अगर वो wound और वो hole है कि भाई आपको तो कुछ पता ही नहीं है, you can't do anything about you for yourself. You're not capable. Obviously ये सब under you're not worthy के umbrella के अंदर आते हैं, but you're not capable of taking care of, you're not capable of making good decisions for yourself. Let's be very focused on this whole. So when that hole is you're not capable of making good decisions, the good decision that you did in fact make for yourself is now confused and muddled by 5 people who are reminding you you're not capable of making good decisions. इसलिए वो सारी चीजें वापस आपके अंदर आ रही हैं. What is the result? What is that called? What is that English word? Complete like you become immobilized, but वो बिल्कुल आप साकिन हो जाते हो. You can't move. You can't move. And sometimes us not moving from that place where the whole is I'm not incapable of making good decisions for myself, and everybody else is saying I should not be doing that. And the one decision that I was capable of making kind of kind of like went out of that hole, and then that hole was open and other things came in. The result of that one moment could be a lifetime as well. That's the state of most of our homes, our marital relationships. Our relationship with our workspace is also toxic, because I'm not capable of making good decisions. I should not be even making it. So I'm going to be static here, like stuck in here for the rest of my life. So these frozen moments that we experience, and one frozen moment could be a whole life. So ये नहीं है कि सिर्फ you should be a good citizen of the world as a multidimensional soul and clean up your mess. Yes, but also the fact that not only is that you're making a lot of mess, a lot of the mess is also coming inside you and mixing with your mess. And it just is a lot. It just no wonder where, like, sometimes when you ask, and I know those people and I've been that person, and sometimes still can become that person, where ask me to, what do you want to have for dinner? Oh my God. And I can't decide. Like, I can't make that decision. Because it's a lot. It feels like a lot. When it feels like a lot, there is a hole within you. And the good news is, when you become aware of this particular hole and the way and where it is within your body, you are in the same moment, given the thread and the needle to stitch it as well. Subhanallah. It cannot be. There's not even a single microsecond, nanosecond delay between your awareness of the whole and you being given the thread and the needle. I really want you to feel into it. क्योंकि you're not given the thread and the needle. उस hole के बिल्कुल साथ वो पड़ा हुआ है. There is no receiving anyway. It's all there for you. It's a sewing kit ready for you. And the reason why we are then asked to be deeply interested in your own self, deeply interested, like the most interesting presence in the whole entire world, no matter how compelling the world, even if the world, like the radical responsibility and the radical awareness of your own and your interest in your own self should be such कि अगर कोई alien invasion की breaking headline news भी आई है ना टीवी के ऊपर, आप उसको सुनो, and then in the second instant bring your attention back as to how am I feeling about this. If you're feeling neutral, you're okay. If you're feeling fear, हाँ वो सारी दुनिया उसके बारे में बात करेगी, but आपका सवाल क्या है? Why am I feeling fear around this? ये कौन सा होल है? Most interested in your own self. कोई आपको बुरा, किसी ने आपको the worst kind of betrayal किया, the worst kind of betrayal करके आपको बुरा भला कह के चला गया, आपका फर्स्ट, अच्छा चलो उसने तो कर दिया, मेरे अंदर ये जो एक फर 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 हो रहा है, what is this reminding me? What hole is this? What ancient hole is this? How is this moment, which is acting as a trigger, reminding me of all the other times I've also experienced the same from different people, and I've not, and it's an open hole, it's an open wound. So no matter what is happening in the world, no matter what is happening in your own home, no matter what is happening in your own relationships, your radical responsibility asks you this: no matter what, bring your attention back to what hole do I have that I'm feeling this through, or allowing this in through, or it's flowing out of me through. Because if there is no hole, then no matter what anybody does, it cannot affect us the way that it affects us. In fact, when there is that no hole is not a concept of the human condition. It's not a challenge. It's not, it's not an ideal that we're either even reaching for. I mean, no specific hole of that nature fully activated in that moment. देखो आपको बताती हूँ हर रूह का जो फैब्रिक है जिस हम लोगों ने अभी ट्यून इन किया हमने देखा कि हर रूह का फैब्रिक जो है उसका नेचर मुख्तलिफ है कोई सिल्क है कोई कॉटन है कोई लिनन है कोई खादी है जो भी है मतलब कोई खद्दर है जिस तरह के भी इसके नेचर है हाँ जो हम लोग which is the individualization of the original filigree of Ru, which is extremely delicate. So even if we are visualizing our Ru to be like khadi, like hand-loomed yarn in this moment, know that the essence of it is still beautiful, extreme fragility. So it doesn't matter. That's the individualization of the soul. Now, where was I? I have no idea. Can somebody remind me? Was anybody even listening? Yeah, I have no idea where I was going with this. It just completely like I was so entranced and like roped into visualizing the roux and the fabric of the roux that I completely. So maybe it was about the thread and the needle that when we begin to, yeah. So then no matter whatever happens outside, when you are fully aware of the fabric of yourself, then things will continue to happen. But your biggest interest at any given point in life would be, I want to have access to my particular thread and needle. I want to sit down with my own wound. That would be your biggest excitement. What that translates into is that we do not begin to hold people accountable for our misery or of our lack of happiness or our fears or our not being heard, not being seen. We just release them from our accountability because we begin to understand that the sewing kit for your wounds is with you. They do not have it. They have the sewing kit for their own wounds. It's a hyper personalized sewing kit. And you can't borrow another person's for your own self. It's yours. You have your own. And when you, for example, in this moment, when you come to a healer, I come to an energy healing practitioner or doctor of any nature, the biggest power that they have and the biggest gift that they can share is bring your own awareness to your own wound. And अगर वो बहुत ज्यादा छलनी हुआ है particular wound, so एक यूनिवर्सल सुई धागा की किट भी है तो फिर हमारा काम होता है एनर्जी प्रैक्टिशनर्स का काम होता है कि वो यूनिवर्सल सुई धागे की किट निकाल के बेसिक या बेसिक जो है वो रफू करते हैं उस यूनिवर्सल किट की बट because at the end of it you've been given your soy dhaga, you are the one who actually the only power who can stitch that wound. Their job is to bring your awareness to your own wound and also in the same moment bring your awareness to the soy dhaga that you have, the kit that you have right next to that wound. And with practice and with time and with support, the dream is and the joy is for any soul, and now feel into it. Feel into a circle of powerful multidimensional souls जो आग लगी हुई है और हम सारे उसके आसपास बैठे हुए, उस आग के आसपास बैठे हुए और सब ने अपनी अपनी रूहों के फैब्रिक्स बाहर निकाले हुए, सब ने अपने अपने सुई धागों के डब्बे बाहर निकाले, सब ने और the explosion of color in that moment and the acceptance and the radical revolution that's happening with that circle of people in that moment. Jahan pe it's just the joy of sitting together and stitching your own kapde, stitching your own wounds. And in that moment, this is now what peace feels like. You know what peace feels like? कि जब हम लोग एक वो सुई धागा उठाए उस सर्कल में बैठे हुए और अपने अपने दागों को अपने अपने चीथड़ों को पेवंद लगाना शुरू करें. The peace is the joy in the joy of anticipation कि आज मैं अपने स्टिच के अंदर कौन सा फूल बनाऊं. या कौन सी चीज बनाओगे, वो कौन सा सितारा परोगे उसके अंदर. The act of stitching your wound becomes the source of sukoon for you. In that circle, where all are fully committed to sitting down with their own soi dhagas, and there is light chatter, now feel into the sukoon of this moment. You are an adept embroiderer who's now going to be doing an entire bale of daisies on this wound of yours. And this other girl, this another woman, is embroidering birds, another one is embroidering grass, another one. और बीच में बातें हो रही हैं, फिर चाय भी आ रही है, फिर हल्की हल्की स्माइल्स भी हैं, फिर किसी ने ऊंचा सा कहका भी लगाया, फिर किसी ने हल्का सा गुनगुनाना शुरू किया. यू फील द पीस ऑफ दिस. ये जो सुकून है, दिस सुकून इज सस्टेनेबल बिकॉज बिकॉज दाग बिकॉज सुराख तो होंगे और सुई धागों के साथ तो बैठना होगा. The sukoon comes when you find the circle, the right circle to sit in, where other people are also, other souls are all equally invested, and equally taking joy in stitching their wounds. Outside this circle, क्योंकि wounds कोई पुराने नहीं होते हैं, fresh भी होते हैं ना. Outside this circle, and what are the conversations which are happening in this circle? Hey, what are you embroidering? Hey, what are you? Ah, this wound. Oh my God, I'm familiar with this one. Tell me more about this. Oh, wow, really? Acha. Oh, but tum iske par ye laga rahi ho. How beautiful. Oh, do you know that song? These is how the conversations flow in these circles. And yes, there is a life outside this circle. But the joy and the sukoon of knowing that no matter what the life outside the circle, I have this circle, I have my Suithaga, and I am deeply aware. I'm not pretending. I am not pretending that I do not have holes. I am here. Chalni khadi hu main aapke samne, but I also have the Suithaga. So there is no great pride in suffering also, right? The pride is never in suffering. The pride is picking up that soi dhaga and become the healers to your own souls. Become the healers to your own wounds. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Just the joy when you when you do that. The joy when we do that. This is the kind of sukoon we are meant to experience. Because this sukoon, this circle, this sukoon, this circle in this moment, and this absolute power that we feel, because it's not an ordinary circle. This is sovereign, divine, multidimensional soul sitting here, sovereign soul sitting here. And you know that this circle will be a similar circle, and you will remember this circle when you are in the higher vibration, where there are other sovereign dimensional souls sitting there with you, or the same ones, but you are then going to be in a higher vibration. And you will not be stitching your particular soul wounds. But if you like embroidery, you can embroider clouds and trees if you want, or new creations into being. But it is these moments, this sukoon that we meant to have, because, and as I was saying, this sukoon is sustainable. क्योंकि जिंदा तो हैं हम. ये तो नहीं है कि हम लोग अभी ग्रेजुएट कर चुके हैं या ट्रांजिशन कर चुके हैं. ग्रेजुएट भी मुझे प्रेशर फील होता है, ट्रांजिशन कर चुके हैं, जिंदा तो हैं हम. तो ये पीस, this sukoon is accessible. This sukoon is accessible. And it also really empowers us to release our hold on understanding things. हमें नहीं मालूम. What this empowers us to do is every time we look at, and I mindfully spend about 10 to 15 minutes every day looking at the Palestinian field. I mindfully do it. Because I know that that wound in Palestine mimics a much smaller wound within me. Because if I'm being drawn to it, it's a reflection of my wound. And the more I look at it, the more I allow my tears to flow, the more I allow my heart to become heavy, the better awareness I have of my own wound. And then I will be able to have the exact dhaga and meri behno. Or mere bhaiyo. But when many such seamstresses and seamsters as us are sitting here in our own rooms, in our own offices, deeply committed to our sewing kits and stitching our wounds. This is how the vibration of this world shifts. It does not shift with big revolutions on the streets. It shifts with that one gaze of, I see you in the darkness of your bed at 12 o'clock at night. And not only do I see you, I know who you are, and I have the sui and dhaga to be able to stitch some part of you with love. And look, today I'm doing a daisy around you. Subhanallah, it is this practice, this energetic practice that shifts the vibration of the universe. The Messiah, which is promised to come and save us all, again, visualize this and feel into it. जब हम लोग कोई हांडी चढ़ाते हैं चूल्हे के ऊपर, I'm not a chef, not a cook, so I wouldn't know a lot about this. But जब हम लोग हांडी चढ़ाते हैं, so अगर हम लोगों ने पुलाव बनाना हो, I think, yeah, anyway, हम लोग मसाला तैयार करते हैं to add meat first, right? For example, if you're making that kind of dish, वो मसाला तैयार करते हैं. मसाला अगर कच्चा होगा तो वो मीट भी कच्चा रहेगा. Meat will not be ready to be put in the pan until the masala is not ready. So if we are waiting for this big Messiah, jo barhak hai, who to come and no, the vibration of this earth has to be ready for the higher vibrational energy to come in and put their tentacles, put their feet, put their energetic receptors in it and stand firm, and this time not have to be yanked up to the heavens at the point of crucifixion. So this time the earth has to be ready. And this time the earth is ready with people like us, with souls like us, with our sewing kits. This is how we're readying the world. Not in our lifetime, not in our children's lifetime, not in the next, but I swear to God, this is how we do it. Because we will not pretend that we came here to eat, drink, sleep, repeat, or to have fun. We did not. That was not the job. That was not the job description. And whoever's telling you is pulling a prank on you. And it's a hard prank because it's making us feel miserable about ourselves. We should be joyful, but we're not. No, we're not meant to be joyful. We're meant to be at peace. And that peace we have access to. That peace is stable because that peace is only accessible through self-awareness. It is only accessible through deep, deep, like radical commitment and radical interest in our own souls. That's it. So much so that nothing remains interesting. No alien invasions, no like new album releases, nothing. Everything that's triggering something in you or bringing out any feeling or emotion in you is all about you. So we tend to our terrain first. And we do it deliberately and we do it consistently in safe circles, in strong circles of sovereign beings such as these. Okay, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.